Yeah, I was that kid growing up. Sonic the Hedgehog was always a big, important part of my life. In school, we played Sonic at recess, where we'd roleplay the characters and whatnot. It was pretty much a gateway into my friend group super early on. The kicker is that I barely knew what Sonic was back then. I played some Sonic 2 in daycare, which is kind of weird. Before that was pretty much my only exposure. In 2002, for Christmas, my wish was received and I got the Nintendo GameCube for Christmas. And on the back of the box, there was the most exciting image I have probably ever seen. This damn hedgehog in 3D. Yeah, I begged my parents for this one. I had vague ideas about who the characters were and what the story was, but all I knew was that it looked rad as hell and I wanted part of that. Who knows what the occasion was, but I convinced my dad to bring me to EB Games, or maybe it was KB Toys, one of those, and picked up my copy of Sonic Adventure 2 Battle. I loved every minute of this. I love the characters' personalities and how they were really fleshed out from like the 2D sprites that I knew. The gameplay was exciting. The music shaped my love for music. I played the shit out of this game. Not well. I don't think I ever got more than a B ranking on some of those levels, but I was young, you know. Obviously, it was great playing the speed levels. I actually have never minded playing those shooter levels that nobody really likes. The only ones I didn't love were the Master Emerald scavenger hunt levels. This level can die in a fire. Man, I had these fantasies about being the characters and making up stories in my head and embarrassingly written out. This was my gateway into the Sonic fandom. A couple of years later, I saw this Sonic Adventure 1 DX Director's Cut, which for some reason I didn't ever contemplate as to that there actually being a first game. I knew that these were re-releases, but for some reason I thought this was like the first English version of the Sonic Adventure games. I didn't know much about the original console that these were originally on, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. Regardless, this was one of the first games I ever got delivered from an online store, which is kind of a funny concept. Regardless, when it finally arrived, I remember playing the crap out of this. I don't have the manual, sorry. I pretty much dedicated like an entire weekend to playing every single person's story. I love how the game featured a hub world like akin to Super Mario 64, and every story intertwined with each other to tell this epic adventure and all accumulated to this grand finale. I think overall I like Sonic Adventure 2 more, but it's really one of those situations where it kind of depends on the right mood and the right time. So that's that, right? The Sonic Adventure games on Nintendo GameCube. Glad we talked about these childhood games and what they meant to me. Nope. My adolescence into my 20s, I was very intrigued by the Sega Dreamcast. To me, this console was pretty much in my blind zone. It was released in September 1999. I wasn't even 5 years old yet. There's pretty much very little gaming comprehension for me. All I knew is that I had a friend and I had a cousin who had a Nintendo 64, and that was good enough for me. In the year 2021, I had a booth at Retro World Expo, and I finally bit the bullet and found another booth that was selling a Sega Dreamcast. Of course, I had to buy its one of many launch titles that released with the Dreamcast. And then it sat for several years because I wanted to make a video on it, and I guess you're seeing that now. I was making a video to kind of detail my experience with playing the Dreamcast for the first time, and I shot it. I was about to start editing it, and then I had some pretty crazy life-changing shit happen to me, and I was just sort of in the middle of it, and I just kind of scrapped the video because, I don't know, to me it felt kind of tainted, and I just didn't really want to go back to that. So I guess you kind of get my off-the-cuff impressions of playing Sonic Adventure on the Dreamcast. It's good. I played both the adventure games on the Sega Dreamcast on a CRT, the way that they are meant to be played. And yeah, this is probably the best way to play these games if you haven't already. I'm not super in love with the Dreamcast controller, but honestly, they fit pretty well for these games. Playing it on the CRT is really just a vibe. I think the models of the characters really fit like a CRT very well. The way it smooths out the edges and stuff looks really good. Plus, there was a whole lighting engine that was designed for the Dreamcast that didn't really translate very well, especially into Sonic Adventure DX. Plus, they just like over-designed the 3D model of the DX version. I kind of like the more cutesy version of the Sonic Adventure on the Dreamcast version. When you're playing the GameCube version, there are definitely some glitches that definitely don't translate very well between the two games. I didn't even talk about the Chow Garden. I know it's kind of blasphemy to say, but I was never a big Chow Garden fan. I think it's fine. It's cool for what it is. I, for one, just want to see Eggman blow up the moon again. So there we have it. Why I own these games and why we're not done. This show isn't just about video games. We're talking about vinyl now, baby. 2 weeks in a row. Let's go. Sonic music is so standout. It encompasses so many genres. We got funky electronic 16-bit songs. We got some ska. We got some butt rock. We got some new metal, screamo. This genre pretty much defined what I listen to on just a regular basis. It's not good music, but it's good. You know what I mean? These releases came out in the late 2010s, and I was very upset I did not get that original release. This one sadly only comes on black vinyl, but you know what? I'm gonna deal with that because it's so good to have regardless. I love the presentation. I love seeing these renders in such high quality. They each all have these little pamphlets too that have like lyric books to them. This kind of reminds me of the pamphlet that you find in Sonic Heroes that has little bios of each character. That pamphlet was pretty much my Bible. I love these soundtracks. I can pretty much only listen to them when I'm home alone because I don't want to subject anyone else to this, but it's so good. I was lucky enough to attend the Sonic Symphony in Washington, D.C., and boy, did I think I was a Sonic fan. I was wrong. This place was filled with Sonic fans. It was really amazing to hear some of the songs that I never thought I'd hear performed right in front of my eyes. And What I'm Made Of from Sonic Heroes, which is such a banger. I thought I was the only one who liked these songs. Okay, I think that's finally it. We don't have to talk about this anymore. Okay, I have a Sonic Adventure statue as well. Don't judge me.